Hey, today I'm going to show how to make lightsaber. I've got a pool noodle. It's 28. It's about half the length of a normal pool noodle, which is almost 60. It's like 2 inches shy, so it's like 58. So cut it in half and you get this. Like I said, 58, 59. It's in my pattern, which will be linked in this video description. It's Ravelry. It's a free pattern that I wrote. I use stitch markers so I know where I'm at. We're going to start with black for the handle, and the number on the bottom is different than the number on the top. So it's going to be magic circle 8, increase, so you have 16, increase so that you add another 8, which is 24, and then it's going to get up to 32, and then it's going to go to 36. Numbers don't add up. The reason why it's going to be 8, 16, 24, 32, which is multiples of 8, and then the last row is actually going to be a multiple of 9 instead, so you don't have as many instead of the multiple of 8, which gives you 36, and then it's back loops, regular, and then you get these fun little splashes, and then it's just simple. The handle is going, or the hilt, the very, very bottom, is going to be the hardest point. And as you see, it does have a seam. However, if you look, my color changes are fairly good. So, we're going to start with black yarn, which is not the greatest for video, but I'm making a purple one. And the light will be this yarn, giving this pretty color change. Okay, so starting with black yarn, you are going to be doing a magic circle or a magic ring. I like doing a locking ring, so what I do is I wrap it around my fingers twice so that I've got 2 full loops, go in between, pull, and pull. So I've got multiple loops to lock in. Use stitch markers. They make your life so much easier. You don't need stitch markers. You can use a piece of scrap yarn or whatever you have. I like stitch markers. I use them as markers for what color I'm on and everything. So, I like to pull it so that I know which loop is which loop is which. And then I'm going to do 8 single crochets right in. And I'm not going to show that on video because then I'm going to have to play with the camera angle, and I don't want to waste time doing that. And it's black yarn, you're not going to see a whole lot. Okay, I've got my 8 on there. You see I've got 2 loops and a tail. I'm going to pull the tail just slightly, and it's going to pull one of my loops. You're going to be able to see. See how that big loop is bigger? We're going to pull this, the small loop, as tight as possible now that you know which way it's going. And then you've got 1 loop and you just pull. And then this is a locking magic ring, and what that does is it's less likely to come undone. You have a quite a bit longer tail when you do this. I don't like cutting it because there's still not tension. It will work itself out. What I like to do is the next row after I do my slip stitch, because I do slip stitches, it's just how I am. You want to make sure your tail's on the inside when you go to do your slip stitch. You're going to chain 1, next stitch marker, because that's going on your chain, just like that. And then when you do your next, because this is an increase, so you're going to have the tail sit on top of the hook and ignore it. And you're going to pull your working yarn through. And there you go. You're weaving this in as you go. Okay, so I've got the increase, and while I was saying multiple of 8, multiple of 9, what I mean by that is the first one is 8, 16, up to 32. The last one, instead of it being going from 32 to 40, it's going to go up to 32, which means it's 4 sections of 9 instead of 8 sections of 5. Now, this is back loops only, and as you notice, I'm using different color stitch markers. That tells me what the yarn is, what the track is, and all of that. Very easy, and you can do whatever you want for that. Now, this row is a back loops only. So, what you're going to do is have the piece that's facing you, because we're doing this in rounds. This will give a lip on the bottom, and it will help keep its shape, since this is the handle. Where the top, you want it more of a rounded edge than a flat. It works out to be flat, but you want it a bit more rounded. So, what you're going to do is have the piece facing you, and you are going to want to get the loop right here. So you're going to split it when you go in. Instead of it having like that, you're going to split the loop. It's hard to see on camera, and you're just going to work all the way around that way. Okay, so I have my increases, so I've got the base of it. The back loops, which is yellow on this because purple is increase, and then the blues are which color I'm using. Black and is one color. It's also going to be the same color as what I'm using to mark for the light part. Yellow for me means that it has something special going on, and then purple is increase or decrease. Very easy. So as you see, I've got another yellow. This is when we're going to incorporate the gray for the buttons or joints. Now, I'm going to start burying my end, because tying off and everything, it makes it look a lot more seamless. Well, I'm trying to bury this in. So, what I'm going to do is lay the end tail. I'm going to do single crochet. See how that still slides? Well, now I'm going to go fold it so it will act as a knot, and I'm going to do another crochet, and what I'm doing is embedding my ends in. Now I've got 3 over. I'm going to throw the working yarn down because I'm going to need it in a second. I don't need it buried in there. I'm going to go through and pull a black loop up, but I'm not pulling black through. I am not doing that because this is the end of the 4th one before the color change. I'm going to pull the gray yarn up, and I'm going to pull the gray through. This helps with your seamless color changes. So, as you can see, I've got 4. I'm going to do 2 gray. I am still burying this end. Black yarn is a pain in the butt. So I've got 1, and again, I'm doing a color change, so I'm not pulling the gray through, I'm dropping it, pulling black through. Now, the rough end is buried in, and I'm already in my color change. So I'm going to do 3 full blacks, and then prep the last black and pull gray through instead. Okay, so I just did my gray and my black. Now I'm going to get over to change. Now, the reason I want to make sure you see this is the gray is slightly loose, so I'm going to pull it so that the stitching is even, get the extra gray out of there, and I'm going to go ahead and do my color change. See how the black got pulled up when I did that? You're going to pull it tight, and you're going to keep crocheting around following the pattern. Hope that helps.